Hi guys, so today I'm going to be doing a book review video. These 7 books I'm going to show you guys are books that were at the bottom of the barrel in one of my bags. So they're all different. And most of them were just okay. They weren't that great, to be honest, because of course, when you get to the bottom of a book bag or whatever, they're always books that are ones you didn't want to finish or not read because of whatever reason. And mine was just because they didn't interest me, or they were books that I was like, I'm not really into those kind of books, that type of thing. So this one is a book that I know a lot of people probably aren't going to read because it's an eyewitness travel guide, and it's an eyewitness travel guide. It's on Warsaw, that's in Poland. And I like reading these books. Some of them are lengthy, some of them aren't. This is the last one of these books that I have. This is what it looks like. And basically, it's just a book. It's color coded, so it goes through like this is like the first part is like kind of like a history of the town or the city. And then the color coordinated parts are just like the different parts of the city. And most of the time with these books, like, you don't have to read the whole book because usually at the end is just like stuff like hotels you can go to, where to stay, where to eat, that type of thing. And they're really good, like, especially like if you're like in school and you need something. I mean, these books aren't like really recent, but they're still good. I really enjoy them. Like I said, this is the last one that I have. So, yeah. So this one is it's by Michael Crichton, and it's The Lost World. This is what it looks like. And it's basically the second, I guess, like the sequel to Jurassic Park. And it takes place 6 years after Jurassic Park got destroyed. And basically it's kind of like a book about like, I think what they're trying to figure out is like evolution, kind of like, I don't know. It's like there's a lot of like scientific stuff in this book. Um, Ian, Ian Malcolm. He's one of the guys that's in this book, and they find this island that wasn't the Jurassic Park island. It was where they started like getting the embryos to hatch for this, and they realized that when they were doing this, that some of the dinosaurs were getting sick and they wouldn't make it into adulthood, basically. And they were trying to figure out why. And then they went to like, and then these people, Ian Malcolm and Dr. Levine, I think, or was it just Levine? No, I think it was just Levine and Ian's like girlfriend slash like scientist. She comes to the island. Two kids come to the island and stuff, and they're just going through the island. Like, the one guy is trying to figure out evolution with them. They're trying to figure out how could like asteroid or a meteor or whatever kill these dinosaurs, like why, like, like there were so many of them, all that stuff. And it was a good book. I never watched all of Jurassic Park, and I never watched this one. But yeah, I don't really think that like they got to like any conclusion. Like, they just were gonna leave the island because it was getting too dangerous for them to be there. It wasn't like they finally figured out, oh, like, this is evolution, like this is why, is it because of evolution that these dinosaurs died out, all this stuff. But it was just an okay book. I really didn't like. I really don't. I never really got into Jurassic Park. I read the first book. I read the Jurassic Park book, but yeah. So this book was a weird book, and I didn't like it. I couldn't get into this book. The chapters are extremely long in this book. I think there was like 10 or 13 chapters in this book. I'm not really sure. I forget. But these chapters were so lengthy to get through, and if you didn't pay attention, you could go from one storyline to the next, and some of the storylines in this book really you didn't even need in this book, basically. When your chapters are like 30 pages long or 40 pages long, you need to like this book, like half of these chapters could have been split in half to make like a 20 chapter book. This is called The Preacher. It's by Camilla Lackberg. I don't know how to say her last name because it has like those two little dots on the top. This is what it looks like. And a lot of the things in this book take place in Sweden. I forgot what it was. I didn't know if it was Finland or Sweden. I forgot. So a lot of the towns in this book have names that I can't even pronounce, like in my head or anything like that. But basically, it's this book about these women from the past and one from the present end up missing. And they think that they're all related to this thing about this man named the Preacher. And I don't really get it. Like, there was this weird thing that happened in the book that I feel like she just put it in there just so that like if you really got into the book, you would like have paid attention more during it, because I didn't enjoy this book. um I think it was about this man who kidnapped women, and I think it was like he thought that like if he killed them or something, he could like cleanse their soul or something like that. I don't know. And then he could use something to help him or like his family or something. I didn't really understand it. And I just didn't understand. Like, I think it was just like he killed these people to save one of his own people or his own family member and stuff. Or and then it was also a thing where like he was a preacher and he would do these like miracles that you see on TV, like where somebody can't walk and then they can, that type of thing, and stuff like that. And the guy that used to work for him found out that these weren't true. And I guess what happened was when he found out they weren't true, what he was doing, he wanted to do something that would be true. So he like this one guy, he got really sick. That was part of like his um like cult, I guess you could say. And he ends up that's where the two women come in, where like he kills them to get something from them so he could help his sick cult member, that type of thing. And it didn't work. Or no, it did work, but then it came back like in the present now. And I think that's why he killed this other girl. I'm not entirely sure. But it was an okay book. And the one storyline in the book that I liked didn't really have like um it never really like closed the storyline, basically. If that's, yeah, it never really like closed the storyline, which I really hated because I really wanted to know what happened to the protagonist's character, but it never came about. So this is an old book, and I don't know what ever happened to this book. I don't know if like my dogs got to it or whatever, but the book cover is like literally destroyed, and it's called Sense. And at first, like when I see these old books, like when my mom and I go to the flea market, there's this woman there who has books, like a bag of books for like $20, and they're all like in different genres. And so then I think this was one of them. And usually when I get these old books, it's kind of like a hit or miss. Like sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. And this one was called Sense. It's by Johanna Kingsley. And this is what it looks like. And it's basically about this family who the father, it takes place, it goes back in, like, it went back, it was in the present of the 80s. So that's when the book was copyrighted. It was in the 80s, and then it went back in time. So it started in the future or the present, and then it started in the past, and then the whole book was about the past, and then the last part was obviously like the present. And it's about this family who the dad in World War one. No, two. Yeah, two. I always get them confused with the people that are in them. Like I remember like, oh, this is what happened in this one, this is what happens in the other one, but then when you talk about the people that were in the war, I'm like, wait, let me backtrack a little bit. And he ends up starting this like house. It's in Paris, and he starts this house of, I don't know how you say their like last name, but it was just like really like perfume that, you have like the house of Dior, the house of Chanel, like that. It was just like that. And then the war started, and he started give, I don't know if it was like he let the what happened was when the um Nazis took over Paris, all of the people that were Jews in his factory, he paid money and got them tickets or passports or whatever to go live in another country that wasn't overrun by the Nazis. And then what happened was he started letting these Nazis into his store, and everybody said that he was a traitor because he was giving them stuff and talking to them and going to see these high people and the Nazi party that was there, all this stuff. So he flees. Well, he has these two daughters by two different women, and his first woman, he loved so much. I was like rooting for them, and then she died having their first daughter. And then his second wife, she was like, oh, she was just going crazy. She wanted to kill her stepdaughter because her husband loved her better than his wife and stuff, where she thought that. And they had a baby, another daughter, and then she basically, like, he took the kids because she was just going crazy. And they end up in America, where he changes his name so that people don't know that people know that him as a traitor, which he wasn't, and stuff like that. And then it ends up going through his daughters, wanting to, they don't really have a good relationship because his second daughter thinks her dad loves the oldest daughter the best, and she's always trying to like be better than her sister, that type of thing, and stuff like that. But her sister really likes the fact that, like, she never went to college, but then her sister's going to college and she's gonna be better and blah blah blah. But anyway, the whole book is just mostly about selling perfume that her dad makes, and then when he dies, she tries to end up making this like scent that he never even got to do, that type of thing. And it kind of brings the sisters together because they need each other, because she has like the nose for smell, and her sister is a business major, so she can like help her on that side of things, and they have to come together and work in each other's worlds and learn to be together again. It was a good book. That one was really good. I really liked that one. So this book was a weird, beyond weird book. Um, it's called If There Be Dragons. It's by Kay Hooper. This is what it looks like. And it's about this man who ends up going to this woman's cabin or something like that, where then this big storm comes. And here it's his friends are trying to set him up with this woman, and they end up staying there. And here she has this ability to read minds, which I feel like it just came out of nowhere, and I was just like, okay, you know what I mean, like kind of like that. And if the dragon part comes in, where it's basically like stuff that you don't want to talk about with other people, or secrets that you keep hidden inside of you, are like your dragons, and the only way to release them is as if to talk about them, that type of thing. And I think he's like, if you talk to me about your dragons, did I not show this? Is what it looks like if I didn't show you guys already. Um, if you don't talk about your dragons, then they can't ever be together. And she was telling him, like, anytime, like, she's with a man, they never stay together because she can read his mind and stuff like that. And it was just a weird book. I really didn't get into it. Like, I'm like, okay, like, the mind reading thing, okay, like, it's like kind of like a sci-fi type of book. And then the dragon thing was kind of weird. And I don't know, I just didn't enjoy it. And this book is the 4th book in the series, and I know that just because on the inside of one of the pages it says there's a 4, and it's circled, so I guess it's the 4th book in the series. I read another book in this same mystery series, but I don't know if I remember if I liked it or not. It's a small book. It's only 280 pages, but the chapters aren't that long. But the words on a page are so tiny. Like, to me, they're tiny, and I think that, like, you can't even look like how, like, it's like the whole full page is full of words. And I think that was one reason why I didn't want to read this book, because there was too many words on a page for me. Like, I feel like that's too much information on one page. This is a crime of fashion mystery. Like I said, it's the 4th book in this. It's the 4th book in the series. It's Raiders of the Lost Corset. It's by Ellen Byerrum. I guess that's how you say her last name. I don't really know. This is what it looks like. And basically, it's about this woman. She writes for this newspaper, and she's going to write a story about this woman who does corsets. And when she gets there, she's dying, and they think that she got poisoned. And here, she was talking about how her friend, this girl, always went on about this corset that was during, I guess it was the World War One, whenever I think it was World War One, with the Romanovs, the Russian family, the royal family, and they all got shot and died. And apparently they all wore corsets, or one of them did, or something, where it had jewels hidden inside, so that when they got shot they wouldn't die, because it was like bulletproof. And nobody knows what this corset is except for this woman, but her diary, or the diary that has like all these clues in it, is in Latvian, because she was a Latvian person and stuff like that. And so she goes on the hunt to find this corset, and it was a good book. I really liked it. I mean, there were some things in the book that I think they really didn't need to do in it. At least that's what I think. But hey, like, they had to go to Paris, and then her man shows up and says, you know, there's a street in New Orleans that's named the same thing, that is in this letter that was in Latvian, that her friend translated into English for her to find and whatever. And she ends up going to France, because she's like, oh, this is a street in France. She knows that. And then when her boyfriend gets there and tells her, hey, there's the exact same street name in New Orleans, I'm like, well, then you didn't really have to go to France to begin with, basically. But it was still a good book. I mean, there was times where, like, because the words were really small on a page, and I was just kind of like, do I really want to finish this book? Because I like this book, like, a normal page, words on a page book that's 280 pages for me, I can finish in like half of a day. Like, when I split, like, if I read half and half. This book took me like almost all day to read, and I only had like however many pages to read. But yeah, it took me a lot of time to read that book. So this is the last book that I have, and it's Don't Know Much About History. It's by Kenneth C. Davis, and I did have a book, and I don't know where it is or if I still have it, but I had the second version of this book. And basically, it's this guy. Oh, let me show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like. It basically is a book about history, American history. And it's mostly good. He says he wants people to learn more about history and more about different parts of the story. Like, there's some in here, like, who really discovered America, what did the sugar and stamps have to do with the revolution? What was the Yalta Conference? Stuff like that. And he wants us to know more about it, or stuff that where, like, you knew about it, but not an in-depth look at it, basically. So yeah, so that was all of the books that I read for this book review video. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys next time with another video.